brands have to be there. They don't have a choice. It is one of those places where they simply have to be. And there are talk up to $4 billion. And the point that Maggie Lake made about them going into China for the next 12 years, if they can secure something this year, in the next 16 days, it will carry them into a market that they've had a hard time reaching.
Well, you say brands have to be there. Do brands have to be in the middle of a Zika epidemic, a political crisis, a corruption scandal, an Olympic Games that's really seemed, if not doomed, at least shadowed from the very outset?
Well, it is very shadowed, and studies have shown, a company called Mindshare monitored social media and found out that we were talking more about the Olympics in 2012 in London than we are about Rio, and that the sentiment has been negative. But now that the Games have started, and now that it turns to the actual act of sport versus the build-up, when there's no sport on the screen, when there's nothing to watch, what are we looking at? We're looking at drama. Oh, there's Zika. There's the Olympic stadiums aren't built yet. There's corruption. You know, that's easy to talk about. Once the Olympic sports start, and then you start having a medal count, and then it's country versus country, there's going to be someone who's going to break a record, and there's going to be something by a quarter of a millionth of a second. That's the stuff that matters, and that's the stuff that Nike and Adidas and Under Armour and all these Red Bull and all these brands, that's the video they're going to use for the next 4 years. That's what's going to show in their stores. You know, the logo with the Olympic logo is going to be very, very popular and powerful for them if one of their athletes can break a record or can get some 5 seconds of great video. Now, keep in mind also, they're up against a lot of rules, specifically Rule 40 from the Olympics Committee that says, by the way, none of that stuff that we show, you can't turn it into photos, you can't turn it into videos, you can't turn it into GIFs, the little graphical interface format that's all over the web. They could potentially not only lose their sponsorship for next year, but have to give back their medals if they do that. So there are a lot of rules, but it's still a global brand and a global place to watch things.
You know, some of those rules are extraordinary when you think about it, because if you're a brand that isn't an official Olympic sponsor, you're not even allowed to use the word Olympics publicly, communicating with your athletes, communicating with the people who you're giving money to wear your shoes or your T-shirts. The Olympics Games guard those sponsorships and that real estate very jealously, don't they?
What's fascinating is that not only do they guard it, but it seems incredibly draconian, which it is in a lot of ways. You know, if you notice, if you're not an official Super Bowl sponsor, you have to say the big game. So this is nothing new, but the banning of gifts, that's a little much, because the fact of the matter is you're not going to be able to do that. They're not going to go and shut down sites like Reddit or Imgur. That's just not going to happen. So they have to say it, but I'm not so, you know, there was a very funny troll account this morning that the Pope on his Twitter account wished all of the athletes good luck, and a troll account stood up and said, you know, Your Excellency, you're violating Rule 40. Please refrain from saying anything. It was very funny. So, you know, they're going to get mocked for that, but at the end of the day, again, you got brands who are making billion-dollar plays here in exchange for the next 12 years of pure content.